I was explaining Turkish participation banks. There is an inequality of opportunity between conventional and participation banks. This is very critical for financial stability. Turkish Central Bank observed this inequality of opportunity and therefore started to take steps to eliminate this inequality of opportunity. The rent certificates will be, therefore, the rent certificates which are issued by the Treasury will be accepted as equivalent of interest-based Treasury bonds for open market operations, being eligible collateral. Central Bank of Republic of Turkey became member shareholder of the International Islamic Liquidity Management Corporation, which is based here, IILM. Thus, the short-term sukuk will be issued by ILM will also be accepted as collateral for open market operations. And we can conclude, participation banks in Turkey are regulated and supervised by the same authority under the same banking law. Performance of participation banks is higher in comparison to the average of banking industry in terms of increase in deposits and loans and number of branches. Recently, money and capital market instruments compliant with Islamic principles are issued by private banks and also by Turkish Treasury. Central Bank of the Republic of Turkey wants to eliminate the inequalities between opportunities of conventional and participation banks. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Prof, thank you very much for the nice and interesting presentation. I don't intend to summarize what Prof was saying, but I can say a few things. Prof, he covered a number of areas, including the Islamic banking in Turkey, the exchange-traded funds, the indices, the pension funds, money market instruments, and the central bank. Yeah? Actually, I have a number of questions to ask Prof, but I will, perhaps let me ask one question. After that, you all can ask, okay? Prof, what I would like to ask is that when you mention participation banks, right, what are the principles? Are they similar to the Islamic banking principles that we practice here? And secondly, in Malaysia, we find, even though we want to be free from interest, the interest is still the benchmark in Islamic finance. Still the benchmark. Do you still face the same problem over there?
Benchmark?
Benchmark means, for example, when you want to price the profit rate in Islamic finance, the benchmark to determine the profit rate is the interest rate itself. In other words, we are actually dependent on the interest rate, even though we want to become independent of it. So is that, perhaps, yeah, same, eh? So you Prof says same. It's the same problem that we face here. So ladies and gentlemen, maybe you like to ask Prof your question. Yeah.
Let me give answer to your question. Thank you, Professor. First of all, the business model of participation banks are same as Islamic banks. They collect funds depending on mudaraba, which depositor is Sahib al-Mal, and the bank is Mudarib, and uses these funds mostly in Murabaha, as the global practice.
Practice, yeah.
Unfortunately, not so much for mudaraba. But some leasing also is practiced. When I come to your second question, yes, correct. That is a global problem. When participation bank makes murabaha financing, buys some goods in cash and sells in credit,
Yes.
then should add something for the time lag. How will calculate the time lag? Here, the benchmark becomes the market interest rate.
Yeah. That's right.
This is
Similar.
everywhere.
Okay, Prof. Thank you. But the terminologies that use that I use, murabaha and all those, do you still use the same terminology?
Yes,
Okay.
murabaha is same.
Okay. So the first question from Dr. Mustafa Umar, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, Dr. Necder. Today you have proven that you are still a good teacher. Because a good teacher raises more issues than, so you raise a lot of issues. In fact, to give time for others, I will just maybe focus on few, although there are a lot of issues on capital adequacy ratio and all this. Now, the first one is, since you have been focusing on the legal and then regulatory framework of the central bank, we know that for Islamic products, there has to be a kind of a control. And that control mechanism in many banks is the Sharia board members. Like in Malaysia, you have both at the banks and the central bank level. I know in Turkey it may be a sensitive issue to use the word Sharia, but just to know what are the control mechanism that you use to check whether these activities are in line with the Sharia or not.
How it is governed.
Exactly, So the other thing which I'm just trying to be choosy and pick. From the beginning you say this participation bank, they don't take deposits. They don't take deposit.
They don't call deposit.
Oh, they don't?
They don't call it deposit.
Oh, they don't call it deposit.
In conventional side, we call deposit, which when you bring your money to the conventional bank, you are the depositor, and you expect to get your deposit fully back plus interest.
That's right.
In participation, also depositor or saver, let's say, saver brings the money, and as I have mentioned just now, makes a contract with the participation bank as mudaraba contract.
Exactly.
Profit loss sharing.
Exactly.
And cannot expect the full amount to be paid back with a predetermined rate.
Exactly.
Therefore, the definition in the conventional, it is said deposit. In participation, it is not said deposit in the law. It is participation fund.
Thank you very much. Yeah, because when you were explaining, just I finished, when you were explaining the mudaraba